Hi, I'm Fiona Valentine, and today I'm interviewing wildlife artist Carla Grace. I'm
Hey, how
so
you going?
great. I'm so glad that you're here, Carla. Your work is gorgeous and inspiring, and I can't wait to share it with people in the Confident Artist. So thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's good to be on the show.
Now, you've been working on probably your most creative project to date. Tell us about what's happened with you in the last 2 weeks today.
2 weeks, I had my first baby girl, so I'm now officially a working mum.
Congratulations. Well, we feel honoured that you're talking to us this early in your journey as a
Thank
working
you.
mum.
Took a bit of a mission to get here though, didn't it?
Yeah, babies wait for no man or woman.
Oh,
Hey?
yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely not. It's all good things though. So far, so good.
they're so worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about you and your art making up to this point.
Yeah, up to this point, I've just been full-time artist, so wildlife artist for now the past 3 to 4 years. Before that, it was more of a part-time endeavor where I was like riding on the fence of, do I become full-time? Do I keep doing this part-time and then supplementing it with part-time income from a more stable source? But I've been full-time now for a decent amount of years, and it's been possibly the most rewarding thing that I've done. So I grew up in Africa, which is why I've focused more on the wildlife aspect of art and rather than portraiture and landscape, just because I feel quite a strong connection to wildlife and that I can do them justice through the work that I do. So that's why I do the wildlife, and I find it possibly a lot more challenging. So I'm always trying to find work that is going to test me in the next piece, and always striving to go a little bit further. So that's always come from the childhood that I've had, and that's been the core of everything that I do. So yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting to hear, because it comes through in your work that you've got a real connection and a love for what you do, and there's something so just inspiring and majestic really about African animals, and you really bring that out. It's gorgeous. So
Thank
tell
you.
us a little bit about your process. Obviously your level of realism and beauty comes at a price. What does it look like for you to work on one of your paintings?
It's very time consuming. My personality just means that I love the detail, and so that's why I work realistically. It's just possibly an OCD thing. So my process is all self-taught. So someone asking me, oh, how did you learn to do it? I have no idea. It's just something that's developed over 15 years of trying and failing, trying and winning, and then working on that. And so just a slow process of layers upon layers upon layers of detail, and refining that to something that represents a process, I guess, is just sort of how I've developed what I do. So it starts off with a base color, and then you just start adding lots of little lines and more little lines, and you shade them, you highlight them, and you just keep going. So you're looking at a good test of patience, I think, would
So
be.
is every painting different in terms of time, or do you notice a consistent
um,
amount of time it takes?
I'd say every piece is different. It definitely takes a lot longer the bigger I go, and like the closer up the animal is in the picture. It can be anything from 3 days to 3 weeks to 6 weeks. It just depends on the piece, how complicated it is, how much time I've got to put in the piece, whatever else is going on in my life at the same time as well. So it just depends. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what it is that determines, I guess, how extensive a piece is going to be, and I'm hoping to really put my finger on that as I go forward. But every piece is different.
I think it's really helpful hearing you explain what that's like from your perspective, because I think for new artists and people learning to paint, sometimes they put a really heavy expectation on themselves that it should feel loose and free and come easily and quickly, and they should just be able to sort of produce something in one session. But if you're someone that loves detail and loves refined work, it's probably not going to be like that, right?
No, it's not at all. And it's definitely not a fluid process for me. It's definitely a focused, this is what I'm going to achieve today, and then I try my hardest to achieve that. So it's so different to what I expected being an artist would be. I thought, you know, it has a very romantic attachment to it, that you can sit all day and paint, and it's just this flow of inspiration and creativity. It's really not. It's a normal day job that you really have to just sit yourself down, even if you don't feel like it. It's probably even worse, like having the studio at home, because you can't separate yourself from your work day job. So even if I'm feeling sick, I'll still come to the studio because it's right there. And I just know that if I finish this little bit more today, it'll be one step closer tomorrow. So there's definitely very little inspiration involved in being a full-time artist.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because we really do have that idea that we'll just feel inspired all the time. But like most things, we have moments of inspiration. We have moments of going, I love what I do. And we also have the discipline. So what works for you in helping yourself show up when you don't feel like it? Do you have, like, I mean, I have things I do like music or listening to a podcast or things like that. What do you do to...
All of the above, really. I try a bit of everything, but I found the most helpful thing to get myself to show up every day and make a decent, productive day out of what I do is having a routine, something set that I just follow on a daily basis. It sounds horrible, but it just, having that routine and a structure to my day makes it something that I can realistically achieve. And I always have a daily goal. I have monthly goals, 3 monthly goals, year goals. So having goals and a routine is, for me, the most rewarding, because I can see how far I've come, and there's a measure to it as well. So it just helps with every aspect. But during the day when I'm working, so keeping the attention acute and on point for what I'm doing, I listen to ebooks, I listen to podcasts, I listen to music. I have regular breaks, so maybe every 40 minutes, and if I go over that, that's fine. Or if I really just need a break, like after 20 minutes, then I give myself that break and then come back to it 10 minutes later or 5 minutes later, whatever I need. Just pop outside, have a cup of tea or something, and then come back to it. Just letting myself, you know, have those productivity moments is really important as well, because you can sit for 3 hours but only do an hour's work if you're, you know, burning the candle at both ends, if you could say that, because you're just not in the moment, not there with the painting at all.
Yeah. So. And it takes a while to find your rhythm of how much creativity burns you out and how much is your maximum productivity. And I'm like you, I love routine. I found that really sets me free to enjoy the process more. So you're independent in the way that you run your art business, right? So in sharing your art with the world, I love the way that you've got such a balance between making your art and putting it out there. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you go about that? Because I think people are interested in how do I go from making my art and then selling that or sharing it with the world. So what works for you?
For me, the work that I create, so wildlife and being very hyper-realistic, it has a high appeal to your broader general audience. So those are people that you're going to find on social media, just basic public. So I'm not looking at a niche, high-end conceptual artist market. So people that go into galleries and that want that whole experience where they get to discuss the artwork and the concept behind it, and there's that big culture behind the conceptual art world. what I do is it appeals more to people who love to look at beautiful artwork and can see talent and process and time and like value behind that, so that you're looking at a general audience which you can target through social media. So I started up my Instagram page and my Facebook page and have just been focusing on mastering those marketing skills and really using that to promote what I do and to really give the most that I can to people who are interested in that. So it's not just about saying, hey, this is my artwork, buy it. It's about opening up about the process behind it and being realistic with people who want to follow you about how you do it and where you're going to go with it and the reality behind it, because people don't want the perfect representation anymore. Like, they can see through that. They don't want a fake Instagram account to follow. They want someone who's real and genuine. So that from the start has always been my focus, and I get exhausted trying to pretend. I mean, like, I show up and that's what you get. So people are just going to get what I have to offer in the best way that I can, which is as it comes.
You do a great job of storytelling and taking people on that journey with you. And
that's good.
I'm so glad that you're here sharing what you do and the way that you do it, because in the beginning, if you bump into a stream within art that's very much gallery focused, conceptually talking about the work, perhaps even has a prejudice against beauty and detail, it can be very intimidating if you're a beauty and detail and I want to look at a picture that just makes me go, wow. And to know that they're different, it can be helpful when you encounter that person who, I mean, some people understand that there's more than one way to make art, and other people can be very strong. And I know for some of those who'll be listening to this interview that they've had encounters with an arrogant attitude and have felt less somehow for loving beauty and loving detail. But beauty and detail and gorgeous artwork are never going to be outdated or unwanted.
No. And what you're looking at there is a very small percentage of art lovers. So the gallery focuses more on people who like that conversation about the conceptual world and the history of modern art. So they want to be part of that storyline. So we've got majority of people, so majority of the public, who will go to a gallery and see a very abstracted or conceptual artwork that is so in-depth and layered, and there's been so much process behind it that the visual aspect is not the most important, and they're lost on it, and they just look at that and go, I don't know what this is that I'm looking at. So majority of public will look at an artwork in that environment and just feel like at a loss because they don't know what they need a degree to understand what is going on there. So there is definitely a separation between those parts of the art world. So the visual and the beautiful side of the art world, there is, I feel like there's a bigger market. However, in saying that, they're not necessarily a collecting market. So you're looking at there's a balance between the two. There's pros and there's cons. So if you can find a balance between the two where you appeal to both collectors and art lovers, then you've done pretty well. And it's finding that balance for your artwork that is pretty much going to take up your entire career and most of your energy.
Yeah. Can you quantify the balance between painting and sharing your work and finding that audience? Can you even quantify it for you, or does it?
That's a hard one. Because finding that audience, you're required to present content in a very high quality manner. So I create videos and obviously take a lot of photographs, and so the time that goes into those things versus the time spent painting, and then you still need to create the actual post itself and then figure out how you're going to promote that. So there's a lot of research that goes in behind there as well. I would say 50% of my time is spent on the marketing, 50% of my time is spent painting. So,
Yeah,
but the
that too.
marketing is only a small percentage of what the overall running of the art business is. So like my husband and I, we were discussing, we were like, I think it's only maybe 30% painting and 70% art business. So with the marketing, the advertising, the research, like all of it, the competitions, if you want to go down the competitions avenue, it's there's so much more involved. And thankfully I outsource like bookkeeping, so then you've got the legal side of it as well. So it's a massive process, and there's a lot more involved than just painting every day and posting about it on social media. There's a lot of structure behind it. That's as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and thanks for talking about it, because I think it's helpful for people to know and recognise. I was talking with Alison Stanfield, who's an art business coach, and we were talking about the fact that if you can bring your creativity to that side of your art making and art sharing, it helps. If you can have some fun with it and recognise, there's a satisfaction in learning to do that well on whatever pathway you choose.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what about in terms of your references, because and your sort of working process, can you tell us a little bit about, have you got rhinos and cheetahs posing for you in the studio, or?
So I work with photographers. I find them online, and I contact photographers directly who have the material that support the body of work that I want to do. I contact them directly, and I get their permission to use their work. I always pay them for the use of their photograph material if they want it. If they don't, that's fine. But I believe very much in supporting other artists. Like, even if it's a free stock photograph, someone has still put in their effort to take that photograph and, make it available to the wider public for free, which is awesome. But I still like to contact them directly and say, hey, this is what I do. I would love to do this with your photograph. I would love to give you credit. What links can I put down for you to make your work more accessible to whoever wants to do more research on you? So it's very much a supportive network for photographers, as well as to supplement what I'm trying to achieve as well. So the reference material that I use from other photographers is always sourced directly from them. If I've been able to take the photograph myself, it's from the local zoo and done through local channels as well. But there's no rhinos, sorry.
Actually,
rhinos or cheetahs in my studio. I wish there was, but no, unfortunately, none of them are actually in my backyard. I do go and take my own reference photographs at the zoo, which is a lot better for me because I can get something that is exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah. It's exciting to just be able to have the chance to talk with you about your work, and I love the way that you've been sharing that and drawing people into your process. So we're really grateful for your time and the fact that you've kind of opened up about what's happening with you. So how can we connect with you, Carla?
Just through social media is probably the easiest thing. So I've got an Instagram page, which is Carla_Grace_art. And my website is carlagraceart.com, and there's an email link through there that you can just pop an email through. I do generally reply to as many messages as I can. So I am usually contactable. Probably been a little bit quiet the past couple of weeks given my new situation, but otherwise I do try my best to respond. So I am very easy to contact.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, and congratulations on your gorgeous baby girl, and all the best with your art making.
Thank you, Fiona.
Bye-bye.
Bye.